Okay, welcome everyone. So today, Julia Neidhardt is with us, and she is a researcher at the Research Unit Data Science at TU Wien Informatics, and she has a background in mathematics and computer science. Has been a guest researcher at the Austrian Academy of Sciences and a visiting scholar at Northwestern University and the University of Genoa. Julia's research focuses on user modeling and recommender systems, several domains, including tourism and news recommender systems, as well as digital humanism. She is also a senior program committee member of the ACM Conference on Recommender Systems and an associate editor of the Journal of Information Technology and Tourism. And Julia is also the leader of the Christian Doppler Lab for Recommender Systems and UNESCO co-chair on digital humanism. Also, I have to mention that Julia has been one of the co-organizers of the Women in RecSys events for the past years. So it's great to see her back and giving a keynote speech for us today. And she will be talking about as you can see on the screen, transforming recommender systems, balancing personalization, fairness, and human values. Yes, welcome, Julia.
Yeah, thank you, Özlem, for introducing me. Thank you for the invitation. As you mentioned, so I was part of this Women in RecSys team, and we did a lot of activities in the past years. I just checked yesterday that it's already the fourth year that we have this Women in RecSys Keynote Series, and we established it in 21, I remember. And one reason back then was also, I mean, it was this COVID time, and everything was online, and then we were kind of discussing to have a keynote, a women's in RecSys keynote at RecSys, but then we said, well, everybody's anyway used to doing things online, so why not kind of doing it either ahead or afterwards? So we were discussing, because there are anyway many presentations and RecSys, and so we can make use also of the time before. And since then it's kind of a tradition already. And so this year I was not in the organizing committee due to just time reasons. And now I was invited. So thank you very much. And since we only have 1 hour, I actually will start with my slides. And so the idea of my presentation, so it's a bit informal, of course, the whole meeting is a bit informal, but I would like to give you a bit of an overview what we are doing here in my lab in the recommender systems domain, obviously. And so also, which company partners we have, which sub projects we have, and then I would also like to talk a bit about ongoing work. So since we have then soon RecSys, then we can maybe connect there, or if you are interested in somebody. In something, so also the people involved in these different sub projects will be there. So it's, as I said, it's more kind of a bit of an overview. Okay, so recommender systems, we know, I do not go into detail, but it's of course also a very interesting technology for both academia and of course also companies. And so this is a bit the idea of this grant that I have of this funding agency, so this Christian Doppler Association. It's in Austria. It's an association to fund so collaborations between universities and companies, and it's a rather huge grant. So it's the idea is that you really plan for kind of 7 years. these collaborations. So you need commitments from companies over this time. So it's well, of course there are also they can also leave earlier. But anyway, the idea is that you can really go in depth in certain questions, and then you can really build up something, and also so it should not be research that you do directly for the company. So we are not developing their products, but the idea is that it's fundamental research. But the questions come from the company, so they have their problems in practice, and they would really like so they see this research, and so this is why they so join these collaborations, and then they pay also something, the companies, but so half of the money that is required for the research, and the other half is from this Doppler association. And in my lab, so we have here 3 modules with kind of 3 different foci, and also basically 3 different companies. And here there are listed 4, but this is another reason. So and the first, so it's called module. So each kind of project with the company. The first one we have more in this news domain. But we'll see the platform then a bit. And here, so the idea is, we have also our focus is that we have different stakeholder perspectives, and we also have here cross domain settings. The other one is this module 2. It's more in the fashion and lifestyle domain. Here we look at advanced user and item modeling, and also have social context. And the third one, it's e-commerce, and here it's about conversational approaches for preference elicitation. And so I will go now just introduce in different depth, so to say, these different modules. So the first one, this is together with it's an Austrian media company. So it's actually a weekly newspaper with high quality. It's a high quality news outlet, because so they really do a lot of research themselves. They really invest a lot in their stories and in this journalism. But so they have issues to get money, or because all the media companies have financial issues. And but what they have on their platform, they not only have these news outlets, but they also have a bookstore, they have events, they have a restaurant guide. Now they have podcasts. And what they would like to do, basically, they would like, if somebody reads the news, that they also can buy a book in the bookshop. So they also have their own publish house. But so this is why here the focus is from their interest is mainly also this cross domain aspects of the recommendations. So the issue here was, when we started the project, I mean, it's now the 3rd year that the labs has started, is this what we also have with the other companies, and what you realize when doing this type of research with real companies and real problems. So actually they had a lot of ideas, but they did not have data that we can use. So because they did not track what the users are basically doing on the website, and it took quite some time. Actually, we are now starting to really collect the data in a way, the behavior on the website, that we even can do this type of recommendations in a personalized way. What we did so far, and we were quite active, was that we did just content-based approaches and did user studies and tried out different things, but kind of, so what was the original idea? So this is quite delayed, and what we are here also doing is working together. So with one of my lab members, so with Irina Nalis. So she has a background in psychology, and she's very much interested also in this news recommendations and also what does it mean here to being responsible. And we did a lot of studies with her students at the University of Vienna in psychology. And also what we're doing with Irina a lot is about kind of emotions, how emotions are modeled in computational approaches and what can be improved there. And just here a few very, very, simple, very short examples. So one of the master students who is now going to finish of mine. So he's was developing a podcast to news recommender system. So he's actually now handing in his master thesis. Was quite challenging. And then there are a lot of lessons learned. So how to select. So even the sequences of the podcasts where you can meaningful then build recommendations on, because what we learned is that, I mean, here you also need the domain knowledge and then talk again with the people from the company, that if you just naively take the podcast and split it into sequences, most of them are meaningless, because there is no content that is now really interesting to get it, or it's too generic. So, and then he found kind of a sophisticated way of identifying those parts of the podcasts where it really makes sense to match recommendations on. Another one was the restaurant recommendations, so also only content based, where we also talked to the domain experts there, and where we could really help easily to improve the system on the website. I do not actually just want to go too much into detail. But this is one of the studies with the psychology bachelor students, and they did for the bachelor thesis, we had some works where they really were doing user studies, and for example, looking from the psychological perspective, how you could enhance trust in recommender systems, or also what was very interesting, for example, what does it, how does the consumption of diverse news recommendations impact the user's well-being over time? I mean, so, and these are very interesting questions for us, because it's also okay, we say we would need more diverse recommendations. And of course, we know it because of the filter bubbles, but what does it really mean for the user perception? And here, what is the psychological perspective in these regards? We also had work already starting with a different data set about emotions of news stories. So like the emotional cues in objective news, and we had also some interesting results there. So that it's really it would make sense to look into this dimension in more detail, and this is actually also something that we are planning to do in future. However, what we also are doing with Irina, and we also will talk a bit at the summer school next week, is this whole concept of emotions and how emotions are modeled. So it would make sense, in our opinion, or we are starting to work on it, also to kind of try out more state-of-the-art psychological concepts. Because what is happening in computer science and what we are doing and what I learned a lot is that a lot of the psychological concepts that we are using in our research are well established and easy to measure. But there is also a progress in psychology, and they sometimes kind of do not consider these concepts at very state of the art anymore. And now it's the interesting question also with the methods that we now have in computer science, where we also can incorporate more context, where we can incorporate more dynamic, whether we could try to match also this progress happening there with our progress. And we have currently a master student who is trying this, who is trying, for example, in an online forum with user discussions to incorporate, so to have more contextual aware emotions classifications. But yeah, so this is, we will talk a bit at the summer school about this topic also. And yes, and something what we also presented last year at RecSys at a news workshop where Islam is involved, and I think this is really a very relevant study, and it was a bit so we still think how to extend it a bit, is due to this connection that we have to this newspaper and the journalists and editors there, and their whole kind of their whole perspective. We are really trying to talk to them and to ask them what do they think constitutes a good news recommendation. What do they think does serendipity mean, and what they would see also. So we also gave them the task to list based on a target article, other news articles. So what would be a good and diverse set of recommendations for a certain target article? And so we still try to operationalize their ideas. And now, as I said, we will finally be able to really do some real studies with the website, since we are tracking now the user behavior, that we really will do an A/B test or different online analysis also, where we really try to incorporate their view on diversity and serendipity and those things. But yeah, so for us, it's important that we really try to use the knowledge that we gain from them. Okay, so the other module is with this company. This is a startup company. They basically have a product. They are called also themselves, it's You Know Me Best. And the idea is here to incorporate the social context when you deliver recommendations. So, and they have this app that you can, if you buy something on an online fashion store, for example, that you can invite your friends through messenger services, and then you ask your friends also, what do you think out of these 4 t-shirts? What would you recommend to me should I buy? So because it's often happening in the real world that people make pictures of in the store and send it to their friends on WhatsApp, and they ask them, so what would you recommend? And their system tries to incorporate this into the whole recommendation process. And so the issue here is also, this is a very good idea, and they also have a patent recently, and we also get good feedback from the reviewers for this idea, but we do not have data because their product is not really used by, so they do not really have a partner where we have the real user behavior, and so where it's really used in practice. So it's kind of again a similar problem. That also led to the fact that we were doing also user studies, and asking students, or now in the second round, friends, to use the system and to kind of, that we get some insights. However, what the company is also now doing, and this is for us as the partner, so we also shift, so we also, because it's their interest, and we also adapt now our focus a bit. So they are very much interested now in these large language models and generative AI. And so this is why we already started to try to understand how to use the potential of these technologies across device scenarios. And I mean, we already have now many already have it, but they were quite fast in establishing also a AI-powered chatbot then. However, so what we also do, and is the idea of what we will see next is how a product store could look more user-centric and more different. And this is why I will briefly introduce the master thesis of a student who will also come to RecSys. What we know from different company partners, and also from my work in tourism that I was doing before quite extensively, is that we have often the scenario that you have a domain and you have products, and you have this very the description of the items is very product centric, and how these items are organized on a website. And so it's not typically the way how users would talk about their tourism experience, or hear about their fashion. So here the idea is that the user has a very specific item in mind that this person wants to buy. But so in the real world, it's that most websites have a very static filter structure, and it's very hard to map the ideas if it's not maybe very straightforward to this filter structure. And so in this case, the idea would be, so here it's just that you can typically select the size or the color, but so it's very hard to really come up then with this extra T-shirt, so this non-standard one. And in general, this is also something what the company would like to have, is that you try also more to personalize the product store for also more human centric. So to go away from this filter structure, the static one, and really to try to personalize, or also to restructure it. And this is also where we are now doing some work in it. And the question is how LLMs can help here, and what Gwen is doing. So in her master thesis, so this is now only one part. She tries to use this new technology to see. I mean, like you would imagine, okay, if you find one item that goes in the direction of what you are imagining, like here this T-shirt, is it then possible to find similar items based on this one? So, and what she's trying to do is kind of this multimodal approach, and is trying sort of fashion captioning, it is called. And so what she's now kind of trying to understand or to analyze is so how she can combine the textual description and the visuals in or multimodal model, and which works best for first finding similar items and then also within a fashion recommender system. So I mean, and so it has all their advantages and disadvantages. So I mean, because if you say, yeah, also without, so she will be there anyway at RecSys too. So it's also to promote her work a bit, but you know, it's all shortcomings because the description typically is might not be enough, and also the visuals. And she, yeah, is kind of how to get these features also with the help of LLM, so that they are multimodal also, that you have the image and the text embedding. And what she was currently also doing is now trying out, so having the ground truth from some data sets, and now seeing with different models, and they now are kind of describing these images, what are actually the results. And so this out of the box, yeah. So there are also now a lot of issues that are more general, and not just tied to this example. For example, it's not even clear which existing metric does make sense to compare the results to the ground truth. So she's listing some of them here, but it's kind of it's not clear which one really to use. And then it's also the ground truth is sometimes not really what you would want to have, because just as it's there described in the H&M data set, it does not really mean that it's then the user-centric way. And what she's currently doing, she's trying to fine tune it, and has now some interesting results. But this is a bit so as I said, I'm actually trying to talk a bit about ongoing work. So if you're interested in it, she will be there at the RecSys too. And so she would be happy to connect and talk about it also. And now the last module of the recommender systems lab. So it's this price comparison platform. It's one huge price comparison platform in Austria, so the biggest one. It's also in the German market, and also in Europe, also in UK and Poland. And they do not have a recommender system at all. They also have this very static filter structure, and they do not, so they also have this a bit retro design, and their user basis is known for often being nerds, computer nerds, and they are really approaching us with the research question whether they could offer also some help, some conversational approaches, or some recommendations for people who do not really know what they want in these product features. So again, the same problem, but rather in a natural language or in a natural need. So if I have a family, you see they have also so they not only have hardware and software, but also have washing machines and everything. And if you have a family with 2 children, and then you would say, okay, I need a washing machine which is big enough that that it fits, or that I can just use it twice, and it should not be too loud. And so this type of needs and preferences, and how a system could help these users and match it to their filter structure. So this is a bit the background idea of this. So we are so they joined later this project, and they have a lot of data. So here that was the different problems. So bit that we kind of find the pipeline to access their data and to find ways of exchange it in a meaningful way. However, so we also yes, what we are doing here is with a PhD student with Amadou. So now to try to understand which user types we have here and then who needs which support. And as I said, there are many people there who are domain experts who know their items, but we also have this other case who do not have this expertise. And so we have yes, this is the late-breaking result paper then at RecSys this year. So so the idea here is that we try to understand based on the filter usage, like which types of users are there on this e-commerce platform. It was, as I said, challenging to prepare the data in a way that and the filter usage. And to sample this huge amount of data that we could do this analysis, but and how to aggregate it. So we also do not have, we just have the information about the session, and the question was which attributes there to use. And then we also did it with the experts there, how to interpret these clusters. And I also will not go here into detail because it will be anyway presented at RecSys. But we managed to identify, in this case, it was 6 interesting clusters of users. And now the idea or the next steps will be that we have some of them. So basically that we can offer for different clusters, different solutions in decision support or no decision support if we anyway have those who already know what they want. What we also have, and this is then a paper at the CARS workshop. So it's also the question, how to represent items in conversational recommender systems. And again, so it's this very heterogeneous data. It's a lot of product data. So we use also questions how to use LLMs in this context and where they could help and support this whole conversational process. So we had already last year at CARS workshop kind of introduced this conceptual paper to see in which steps, so not to see recommendation as just you send something to ChatGPT, but really here this whole ecosystem or this recommendation ecosystem, and to see in which steps LLM could help, for example, in the conversation and the preference elicitation with the user, of course, but also to enhance user input, or to restructure data and those things. And so the kind of a bit, so we follow this line of research, and what we will have this year. So it's kind of about the item catalog that is very dynamic. So it's a method that is called knowledge editing to make sure that information can be updated within these LLMs. And so we have some preliminary results where we try out some knowledge editing methods with LLMs for the product catalog, and we compare then the outcomes with 2 different common methods, so to say. And this will be presented at the CARS workshop then also at RecSys. And yes, and then the second but last thing I would like to say, and now the time is already, so let's leave some time for discussion. We also have, because I'm also still doing the tourism workshop at RecSys, so we also have now, again, a project with a startup company here in Vienna, which is called City Riddler. And here we develop or they have an app where you go through Vienna, so it's different point of interest, and you can solve riddles there. So so it's a fun way to explore the city. And what they have is they customize walking tours, but now it's all handcrafted. And in this project, also with the master student and in collaboration with TU Munich, so with Wolfgang, who is also here, the idea is to automatically generate these tours. And so this is very nice actually, because it's nice and visual representations. And so the idea is that you can select certain type of tours, so like highlights of Vienna or art or more historic, and then you can add some more interest, and also whether the riddles should be hard or not so hard, and then the algorithm composes the tour for you. And what we are doing in this project, or our task, is that we make sure that these tours are first automatically generated, but based on certain constraints. So, for example, that the walking distances between the single point of interest that are evenly distributed, or that there is a nice mixture of categories. And yes, so we do it together with Wolfgang from TU Munich, and we have also Joanna will be at the RecSys conference. So this is maybe also so there's no presentation about this paper, but this is something we currently work on. And so we this is just some details about the approach, but which I will not. So how she makes sure that we have this equally distributed distances, and also the diversity. And she wants to do then a user study. So if you want to come to Vienna and take part in the user study, it's for sure interesting. So, and the last thing now really I would like to mention is what was also indicated by Özlem beforehand about this digital humanism we are always talking about. We are here at TU Wien. We have this very this initiative since a few years now. It's 5 years actually. There was 5 years anniversary of the manifesto, and for us, so this digital humanism, it's an approach that integrates also human values, ethics, and societal concerns into the design and the application of digital technologies. And this sounds very kind of straightforward, or that we anyway think about it, but actually this is not the case, and because you always have to raise these issues. I mean, not in our community maybe, or not, but here also at TU Wien, or together with others. I mean, I'm very first this UNESCO chair. This is also what I wanted to say. I have a slide and afterwards. So we managed to establish last year actually an UNESCO chair. So the UNESCO is kind of giving these chairs, or establishing these chairs for topics that they find relevant, also based on the goals of UNESCO. And so the idea is that universities kind of also help to achieve these certain goals. And as you can see, I mean, UNESCO is well known for their natural and cultural heritage, but now very recently, they also start more and more to think about AI, on the impact on society. And they published, also together with a lot of researchers and a very international effort, this UNESCO guidelines for ethics in AI. And so they see this as a more and more relevant topic also for societies, for democracy, for many aspects. And we established this chair. So it's the only UNESCO chair at the Technical University in Vienna, and it's a bit more. It's so to say a more a political role because, but still. So I'm doing this together with my colleague Peter Knees, who will also be at RecSys, who's also doing recommender system research. But so we think it's quite relevant, especially in the field that we are working, because we had these elections in Austria. We had elections on Sunday. It was a disaster again. But in general, we have global many elections, and the question how these technologies that we design or that recommender systems and personalization contribute to kind of phenomena that also are a threat to democracy. It's widely discussed, and we think we have to also address these questions also within our own research and within our own environment. And so this is why we did these whole activities, and are still doing it. So yeah, actually it started 5 years ago here. I mean, there are similar initiatives, but here in Vienna, so TU Wien is here kind of a key player. We had this Vienna Manifesto on Digital Humanism 5 years ago, which is now still a document that is widely referred to, and that was wide attention. And so yes, here again is this how we see it. So this digital humanism, that we think we not only have to analyze and reflect on the complex interplay of technology and human and society, but we really need to influence it, to make better technologies, to make technologies that help people and not manipulate them. And yes, so that's it. So there are a lot of activities since then. We have it's not me, so I mean, there's a big group, also an international group, but there are already 2 books out that can be downloaded for free. And we have a summer school this year for the 3rd time, where we also talked about personalization and recommender systems. So Sola and Robin Berger were some of the speakers. And so there will be further activities, but just to also talk about it. So this was this UNESCO chair established, and yes, so we also have a Dicum chatbot, but this is just a prototype. Okay, so this is my lab and the people I'm talking about. So Irina is the psychologist. Then Mita is about to finish. Thomas is doing the work on their standard. Aisha and Gwen are with this fashion recommender. Amadou is Gates Hall, so with the price comparison, and Joanna is the one with the tourism recommendation. And you will meet all of them at RecSys. So thank you. So sorry for this whole frontal speech now, but it was then kind of more on the slides than I thought. So yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
Is still somebody here, or?
Yes, everyone is here. Thank you very much.
How to clap remotely.
Now I will stop the recording before we go on with the discussions.